SoulSpeak Living in Color, where we talk about inspirations, following your dreams, and what lights your fire. I'm your host, Sam Philyaw, Rainbow and Thunder voiceover. You can find me at samphilyawvo.com. Hello and welcome to SoulSpeak Living in Color. Today's guest is Kurt Helsel. He is a multi-talented voice actor, artist. He told me that his main creative hobby is spray paint art, which is not something you hear every day. That's pretty cool. So he has a few voiceover samples, like a restaurant commercial sample. He has like a bunch of different commercials and like pieces put together on one track that you can find on his website. So Kurt Helsel, VO.com. You can go check it out, listen to his stuff. It's pretty good. I'll be linking his website down in the blog so you guys can go with a direct link for it. We'll get some social media so you guys can follow him and support him on his journey. He's going to be telling us about his hobbies, his journey in voice acting so far, in artistry, and we're just going to have a good time conversation as we always do. So without further ado, Kurt, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you coming on here and responding to my call for guests.
Hey, not a problem at all. Honestly, yeah, you caught me with that initial invite, just I like the idea. Honestly, I was seeking some inspiration of my own, so it worked out for me too.
That's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking to do, because a lot of people, it's a rough industry to be in any creative industry really, but a lot of people get burnt out on it and they need inspiration sometimes. So this is what we're here for.
Absolutely.
So tell us about what you do as a voice actor. Like, how did you get into it? Why did you start? What do you like about it?
Well, so I guess the best place to place it would be, I've kind of always liked doing voices. I feel like a lot of us who do this have throughout our lives, but it really kind of started when I first got into the workforce. And the best way, me and the buddies in the back found the way to pass time would be to just start random quoting different shows, yada yada yada. Then we started realizing, hey, one or more of us can kind of get kind of close to this. This seems enjoyable. And I started looking into it more and more and more. And then next thing you know, I'm going to websites like, I don't know if it's used as widely anymore, but just to kind of get my feel for it, Behind the Voice Actors, Casting Call Club, of course, started, perusing around there. And then finally I was like, this stuff's fun. I'm realizing a lot of this stuff is for fun. It seemed to me a lot of the stuff I'd try out for, or whatever, you accept it or not, you'd never tear, hide, nor hair of it. So you find out it was just, hey, we were just doing this for fun. So I got a coach. So I was like, I think I'm ready to take that next step. And I got this fantastic coach, Jun Yoon. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, I've heard of him. I haven't engaged with him or not, but I do follow him on like Twitter and Instagram.
He's got a real good model for businesses, because you said it in your first podcast, this is a business. This is ultimately what you're doing, is you're running your own personal business. And he has a real good model for that. And that's initially what I approached him about. I felt comfortable, you should always take acting training when you can get it, but I felt comfortable where I was acting at that point. And I needed to figure out how to advertise myself, because honestly, I'm terrible at it. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not very good at it.
Did you have acting experience prior?
Drama in school a little bit. But aside from that, it was really just drama class. I tried out for theater and all that. Unfortunately, I just never got accepted back then. I tried out for the improv group, didn't get accepted to that. But through drama, I stayed in drama class. I kept taking it, ended up doing a few in-class plays with a couple buddies, and we had a great time with it. So
it was cool that you kept up with it, even though you kept getting, I don't want to say rejected, just not selected, right?
Right.
And you're just I want to do it.
Exactly. It happens. I actually just received a rejection letter today. Crushing, of course. For one, because you're not half the time you don't even get one. But there's actually a really nice silver lining to this rejection letter, because they offered me, like, hey, you can do a one-off part if you're interested, or hey, we actually absolutely loved what you did. We regret having to send this to you because it just doesn't match up with, another person's we've picked voice, or yada yada yada. And it actually had a really nice underlying message, which I guess I kind of had benefit to, because I've read of other people getting rejection letters and they're not near as nice as that, if you even get one.
Right.
Half the time you just,
and that's not even a
for the win.
rejection letter. Like, that's we like you, you're just not right for this part, but we're
Yep.
going to keep you in mind for next time.
Exactly. So naturally I wrote them right back. I was like, yes, please, absolutely, please.
I'll be like a pebble in your shoe.
But yeah, so that, I mean, yeah, and that's kind of how I got my start, and how the journey's progressing so far. I've just been keeping at it. I can't say I've stuck to the guns as much as the next guy. Hell, there was a Twitter post I read from a guy. He had gotten 50 accepted submissions this year. He had tried out for 490.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah, so that really puts a lot of things into perspective for me too. Just yeah.
It's a guns a-blazing kind of thing.
Yeah, you kind of got to learn to just fire them off and forget about them half the time. There's ones I'll show family members, like, I really like this audition. I'm like, oh, you ever figure out what happened with this thing? No, kind of just sent it and forgot about it. I like this one though.
No, I do that a lot too. I'll finish an audition, or I'll think of one that I did like a couple of weeks ago, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that one was really great. I didn't hear anything back, but I loved it. And I'll go down and show my boyfriend, and he'll be like, did you book it? No, but it was good.
You want to really mess with them, get you some anime background track. Just, you're not going to publish it or anything anyway. You're just showing your family an anime background track and throw it in the background real quick. You're doing a really long evil villain monologue, definitely throw it back there and just, hey, take a look at this. This is awesome. Did you do this? No, none of this is mine. I just did the voice, man, but it's cool, right?
Gotta play around a little bit.
You gotta have fun with it.
I know you had mentioned to me that you've been dabbling in it for a few years. So how long have you been kind of working on it, on and off?
Definitely 5 years on and off. I could trace it back easily to 5 years ago. Because that's really when I started. That's when I track my casting call submissions back to anyway. Yeah, all the way back here. And you can even follow the pacing on my account and see, like, okay, he did an audition here. He did like a sporadic burst of auditions for 3 months, got burnt out, went away for 7 months, came back, did another sporadic burst of 5 auditions. And honestly, having done that, the best I can say now, actually starting to book stuff and starting to get bit parts here and there, which is how it's going to come to you. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe you land a huge, magnificent role immediately, and good for you, man. That's awesome. But, it'll come to you bits and pieces. Just do it when you feel comfortable is the best I can say. You'll be producing your best work. And
for me,
bottom line.
And I think for a lot of other people, I don't perform well if I'm burnt out. If I'm not in the right headspace, I've had a shit day. I've gotten to the point to where I've learned I don't need to go into my booth to do any auditions if I'm just not feeling it.
Yep.
So I will do something else. Maybe I need to work on editing a podcast, or maybe I need to do some email marketing, or, anything that doesn't really require to act.
Yep.
And then, when you're in the mood and you're feeling it, you're feeling good about yourself, then get in there and just burn through it all.
Whether that mood comes at 2 a.m. or 3 p.m, absolutely.
Exactly. If you're having insomnia, you can't fall asleep, why not? Go upstairs. Well, for me,
the other day, probably drove my poor wife insane, but yeah, walked in the booth right at 2 a.m, like, let's do it. Let's knock something out. I'm wide awake. I can't go to sleep. I'm doing something. And yeah, I drove her insane. No, I don't even need to question. I know I did, because she was sitting out there like, here we recording. I can't even yell at you about it.
So what genres do you do?
um Kind of anything, really, to be honest with you. I try and I don't tend to go for romance, heavy drama stuff like that, because I'm just not comfortable with it personally as a voice actor. If I can do something, I've been mostly trying, do books, action books, sci-fi books. Spend a lot of time on ACX trying out for those guys, and even e-learning stuff like that, commercial work. uh, as far as voice work, for animation, when I try out for stuff like that, again, same deal. Try and stay away from the romance side of things. Try and go for your action, your stuff like that. Doesn't necessarily have to be a particular style of animation. I don't care if it's American animation, Japanese animation, a flash cartoon, whatever, some student film. That doesn't
Something
bug me
fun.
here nor there. Yeah, exactly. That the last thing I booked was a student film. Nothing wrong with that.
Right. That's cool. So you
And
do
it's
a little bit of everything. What do you seem to be booking the most right now?
the most right now actually tends to be the little bit roles for the student films, as it would turn out. I've gotten about 2 of those. Just hey, we're doing this thing with a 3D animation, we wanted to throw some voice work on it, yada yada yada. Hey, I'm taking this class in college, we're doing this, I need a voice for this, just showing my direction skills off for a machinima. Absolutely, let's get it knocked out for you. uh I have booked an audio podcast. That one, and that's the other ones I seen in the book, is more podcast style things, just vocal only, audio book style. What audio drama? That's what it's. My words escape me right now. Audio drama is what it's referred to. And I had just done this one earlier this year, playing the king of some elven country, which was fantastic. I knocked the fantasy role out and being a king out at the same time. Uh,
Heck
but it
yeah.
was nice because he had kind of like a Vegeta thing to him, which I really appreciated. So he was very proud and arrogant. So it was a lot of fun to play that guy. And that's so far what it seems to be, roles like
I
that.
think that's really cool, and it brings up a great point in that no matter if you're a voice actor or a creative person, we'll do voice acting as an example since that's what we're talking about. A lot of people who are being taught by professionals, they tend to look down upon student projects because they don't pay well or they don't pay at all. But I think that it's a great way to network, really, because they don't expect a whole lot from you. If they're not paying, they obviously don't expect you to be like some top tier professional voice actor. And when they graduate, they're more than likely going to be in a position at a company or their own company where they may be hiring you. They may be the creative director, they may be a producer, and they're going to remember that this person actually did a pretty good job and they didn't mind helping me out when I was a broke ass college student. So let me see if I can go find him if he's still in the business.
Absolutely.
I've heard of a couple of people that happening to over the years, and I think that's a really cool idea. So do you do this part-time or full-time?
I do voice work part-time. Hence the 5 o'clock meetup time here. Yeah, unfortunately, I would love to do this full-time, but that's part of the process too. You eventually will get so much work that you have to look at your day job and be like, sorry guys, I'm gonna go with
That's
this.
the goal, right?
Yep, that's the goal. So I do work full-time and I voice act part-time, which, again, back to the sporadic nature of my postings sometimes, which is what I've worked on this year a lot, getting better about being so sporadic. And hey, let's just do 1 or 2 every couple of weeks, and then we don't get burnt out as much.
Right. So
but
what's your full-time job?
And mind you, I'm in a transitional period because I am currently in a 2-week process. So
No judgments here. It's okay.
Currently, I am working at the office of an electric company.
Neat.
I guess so. Taking off plans, bidding jobs, stuff like that, office work, moving into, mainly because they actually offer good pay and they offer better hours, so I can get out and do some voice acting some more. Moving to an Amazon warehouse, actually, to move boxes around. So
Nothing wrong with that.
hey,
If it
like I said,
furthers you to your goal,
they do more than pay the bills, and I'm gonna have more time off to actually do this stuff. I have a full 3-day weekend, take 1 day to just veg. There's 2 days of productivity ahead of me after that, and then straight back to work. I can deal with that.
absolutely. I am for it. I like that plan. And we actually just last week had the episode with Brian Cook, and he is a full-time broadcast engineer, and he does part-time voice acting. And we were talking about the work-life balance of having a full-time job and trying to do voice acting and build that business on the side. I personally don't think that I could do it because that's a lot of stress. I am not built for
it
grinding my face to the ground.
It doesn't get too bad when you're just auditioning, but when you've actually booked a role and it's like, here's your deadline. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really do that whole I'm not in the mood to do this anymore. Okay.
I'm just not going to get any sleep.
That's kind of what happens too.
Oh my gosh.
That's sometimes the grind. You lose sleep for it.
And I think that's a good way to think about it, because you are an entrepreneur if you think about it. Even though you're working full-time or part-time or whatever at another company, you're still an entrepreneur because you're building your own business, whatever business that is. It doesn't have to be voice acting, it's anything.
Yep.
And 2 things at once, you're going to be putting in a lot of hours. So if you really want it, you're going to go for it.
I got bags under my eyes. It's okay though. I don't mind.
We all do, don't we?
Don't
all
we
us millennials. Yeah. We're all tired.
All of us are deranged insomniacs, man.
Exactly. So you've been in this business on and off for 5 years. You've been dabbling in it. You've done a few roles, a few projects here. Sounds like you're mostly into animation. So what is a dream role? Like what's the one role that if you got it, you'd be like, this is it. I have come to the peak of my existence.
So honestly, I don't know if you can kind of see the poster over here, but I've hung a poster up here of my inspiration. I did it as soon as I put this booth together in this dang closet. But it's a picture of the crew from One Piece. And the reason I picked this show in particular, because I love all sorts of different anime. This is a really good show. That aside, there's always like a million characters to voice on this show. Every time I watch an episode, they're like, oh, here's this new character, here's this new character, here's this new character. Here's this 200 episode arc with all these new characters. Oh, this episode arc's over. Here's 200 more new characters. Learn all these names.
God, as if they needed more episodes.
But it's been running since I was a youngin'. This show's
been
running since I was young. So being able to voice act a show I watched as a kid, nowadays, whoa.
That's the dream right there.
Any character on there, bit role or not, if I can land something on that show, that's the dream right there. That's good. I've made something enough to really impress myself with it.
That's awesome. I haven't actually seen One Piece. I watched one episode and I just could not get over all the yelling and the chaos.
So my buddy fought me to watch it. I told 6 months straight, he dogged me about it. I was like, man, I watched it when I was young. I gave the show 20 episodes. I just didn't dig it. And sure enough, he inevitably talks me into it. He's like, promise me you'll watch 100 episodes. And he wasn't a Dragon Ball Z fan at all. So, promise me you watch 100 episodes, and I promise you I'll watch 100 episodes of Dragon Ball Z. You know what? Deal. I finished the English dub of this show. He has not finished Dragon Ball Z. Is what it is. I like what I like. This show's good. it took about 100 to get into it, though. It's one of those very slow building shows.
Oh my gosh, that is insane.
But interesting, some of the voice work on there, it's don't watch 1,000 episodes of this show to pick apart, like the few you'll hear. And I, for the life of me, could not tell you who voiced some of these characters, but there's this guy on there. You were mentioning the screaming. Well, this guy goes from like a scream to like a really dramatic low like this, and then back up to a high pitched thing. And it was honestly one of the most phenomenal bits of voice acting I've ever seen. Like, holy crap. There's another episode in it where there's this lady, the entire episode, she's screaming, "Please stop fighting." And it's like going throughout the entire background of the episode. And at first I was like, okay, didn't think anything of the line. And after hearing it for 20 minutes straight, I was like, man, that lady's voice must be absolutely killing her right now. Like,
I would
that's
unless they put
impressive.
it on a roll. Did it sound different each time?
It was different each time.
Oh my gosh.
You could actually hear her strain towards the end of it because she'd been doing it in the booth for 20 minutes straight.
And she had probably been doing it for longer than that.
Absolutely.
We all
That's just what they
know
put in.
it's not
That's
usually
just
just
what they
one
put in.
take.
Oh no.
Oh man. That is so crazy. I mean, there's tons of anime like that where they have hundreds of episodes. Like we've watched Bleach. We're in the middle of Black Clover and Hunter x Hunter. Fairy Tail is my favorite. We are Fairy Tail Guild members. We got the guild tattoos.
Nice.
So anime was actually the one thing that kind of made me realize it, as I'm sure you watched my first episode that was published. And I've been talking about how we just sit in there one night and I hear these voices all the time. Usually it's like, Chris Sabat and a few others. And I'm like, oh my God, they do this for a living. How did I not realize this?
I enjoyed that you said that, because one of the first things my coach taught me, which is something I never actually sat down and psychoanalyzed. It was really interesting you said that in your first podcast, because that's what was mentioned to me. Like, hey, listen to commercials, look at all these businesses down the side of the street. Like, how do you hear about them? You have to hear about them some way. Someone has to do that. Someone has to say, please come eat at Domino's. We'll pay you a lot. No, that's not what they'll say at all. But you get the point. That's the opposite. You'll pay them. You want to pay them.
Right.
This is why they give us scripts, man. My head's so damn scatterbrained. I'll just say stuff like that. I'm like, no, redo it. Sorry.
That's why I need improv classes. I get brain fog all the time. So I'm like, oh, I need a script. I can't do it without a script.
That's what I hate about improv too. You get the brain fog. When you're on a roll, though, you're on an absolute roll.
See, I have a really dark humor that I don't allow out very much. So if I am just not thinking and I'm just on autopilot talking, I will say some truly obscene things.
So I totally understand that. You're absolutely hilarious to people that know you, but people that don't know you don't think you're funny. They just think you're an interesting person. Yeah, I totally get that.
Yep. Or they think you're like rude and sarcastic as hell.
Yeah, that's the one I get more often than not, depending on the type of person I'm talking to and what mood I'm in.
I'm sorry if you ever caught me on a bad day.
Well, I'm not. I am what I am, I guess. But
there you go. Don't be sorry for it. So tell me about your other passions. I know I briefly mentioned that you do spray paint art. You are an artist. So let's talk about that. And then anything else that you do as a hobby.
All right. So spray paint art. This one, I started that with my wife probably about 7 years ago. And I actually have like 40 of them ahead of me. I will attempt to pull one down if you'd like, without disrupting the camera and the mic stand.
If you can, that would be great. If not, don't worry about it.
I'll pull a handful down here. Whoop. See what we got. Oh, perfect. A Zelda one. Ugh.
Oh, neat.
So we kind of just started, we saw it and we actually attacked it with the foolish mentality of, oh, that can't be that bad. that looks so simple. That can't be that bad. Uh, we still have our first paintings. They're not displayed anywhere because they're terrible.
I don't doubt that. And for
But
those of you who are listening to the audio only, I'll try to get pictures of these and post them in the blog for you to see.
But we just kind of started going. We watched a few YouTube videos on it.
I love that one.
We just happened upon it. This would be one of my wife's.
Oh, that is beautiful. Oh my gosh. I love galaxy paintings.
I
They're
have
so
the
cool.
tables. I have the tables handy, but they're kind of downstairs. I'm not gonna be able to nab you.
Send me pictures.
I can send you pictures. Absolutely. This one is upside down.
That's really neat.
That's just a handful. We got over 200 up above my head here.
Oh my gosh.
There is probably 20 some odd littered throughout my townhome right now.
That's really cool though. You guys have, like you said, you don't show the ones that you first did, but it looks like you've gained a lot of skill and experience.
And that's exactly how it started. It's a cheap hobby. So honestly, if you're at all interested in it, definitely do it. It's super cheap. $20. You can make over 20 paintings. By the 20th one, I promise you'll have found something you like with it and you'll be good at it. Because it's difficult at first, but as you watch YouTube videos and as you start doing it, you start realizing, okay, I just drag it like this. Because that's all a lot of what it is. It's fooling the eye with abstract art and abstract motions to make planets, backgrounds, what have you. Spray techniques, a lot of it's spray techniques. Hey, I'm gonna spray this, slap a piece of paper over it. And a lot of these, you'll see YouTube videos of people setting their medium on fire in order to instant cure it. Well, they don't set it, they hover flame above it, but they'll like torch their paint cans. I don't do that. I've never felt comfortable doing it. I've never done it. If you need to let something dry, I just cure it. Spray paint doesn't take a long time to cure. Throw a fan on it, it'll be cured within 5 minutes. I promise. You can spray over it and it's not going to pick the other stuff up.
I think that's more for when they're doing street paintings, right?
Yeah, I believe so. There's a guy I watch who's actually who we got a lot of our inspiration from after we started going. His name is Porfirio Jimenez. And he is this street artist. I'm not exactly 100% sure of his locale, somewhere South US, I believe. But he doesn't always do it in the street. He'll do it in a garage sometimes or what have you. And that is where we pulled a lot of our inspiration from. What type of paint is this guy using? Let's get his spray cans. They have all these nice colored tops on them, so I don't have to sit there for an hour and try to figure out what I'm using. And we learned a lot of decent techniques off of his work and watching his videos, because the whole time he does it like he's a school teacher. He's like, and then we're going to do this. And you just kind of slightly apply pressure and bend it back. And then you move it up and down. And then you do this. And then we apply fire. And then he screams fire and everyone has a good time. But moved into that. We ended up spraying our own tables just for laughs, just to see how it would come out. Came out phenomenal. And then naturally we'd have buddies over or what have you. And they'd see the paintings. Hey, can you do this? Yeah, sure. How much? $20.
A little extra pocket cash, right?
To be fair, it is artwork, so that's the way I always looked at it. Obviously, if you're a good friend of mine, half the time I'll just hand these things off to people. Like, oh, you want that one? It looks cool. I have a stack of 200 of these, man.
I do the same thing with
Please
crochet.
Get it out of my house.
Yeah.
Please get it out. It's sitting in here and it's just taking up space. You want another one? Take another one. But we've sold them to people at workplaces. We've sold them at the flea market. Just gone up there, rented a booth. Hey, set them all out. And so much for the small ones, so much for the big ones, what have you. Couldn't tell you how much we've made over the years. Just $25 here or there, minus the flea market times. Then it was like $100 here or there. We didn't stay terribly long. I'm not trying to stay out in the sun for 8 hours. I don't like that stuff. That's why I like voice acting. I get to be here in the air conditioning it, and I don't have to look at anyone because I'm in a closet.
Fantastic. Right. And you don't have to be followed by paparazzi because most people don't know who voice actors are.
Yep.
That's cool
That
though.
is. But yep.
And I kind of do the same thing with my crochet. Like I just want to do it. I don't even charge people. I'm just like, oh, I think they would like this stuff. So I'm just like over here creating a whole bunch of stuff.
That's definitely a passion hobby. Definitely just I blow off
so much time.
Whatever. I haven't been able to be creative for forever because of this or this. Go out there, it takes 5 minutes to spray something, come back. That's how half of them were produced.
Yeah. I think that's super efficient. It gets your mind out of the funk. My brother, he used to be fantastic at drawing anything. Like, I don't know if he's been practicing. He's probably not that great at it anymore, but he got all of the artistic hand coordination skills. I got the vocal abilities and the musical instruments. But I've always been super envious. I try to draw it. I end up drawing stick figures or figures that are too fat or doesn't look good.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same thing about my freehand, or I wish I could say what your brother says about his freehand. I'm like you. I can't freehand whatsoever. It's
a skill. I'm sure he practiced many hours because he was super passionate about it.
Yes, it is. My handwriting's terrible. I can't draw a straight line to save my life.
Me neither.
Seriously, if I was in a Saw game or something, if this was Squid Game, draw a straight line.
You might as well just kill me now.
Been fun, guys. Thanks. Everyone stand behind me, I guess.
So you do spray paint art, you do your tables, which he does a little commissions every now and then. So if you're open, then you can let the people know, like, hey, I take requests on occasion.
Absolutely.
That's why you guys got to follow the social media so you can get in touch. Just saying. But so are there any other hobbies that you do?
Yes. Yeah, I do a few. I am also, I'm not near as serious about it. Not to say I don't like doing it. I do produce music to a certain degree, like little beats here or there. It's nothing super comprehensive or anything crazy, like a little video game random RPG jingles or what have you. That's nothing I do for, it's literally just for fun.
Mm-hmm. That's cool though.
And that's just a very rare on occasion. Hey, I got the random bug. Let's hop on the keyboard instead of doing anything else, what have you. I do enjoy that. Big into paintballing. Enjoy paintballing a lot.
Nice.
To the point where I've got actually quite a bit of expensive gear into it. Automatic gun and all, completely chipped. It's just mostly playing around a local field. I don't travel or anything for it. I don't try and get sponsored. It's just something I do for fun because you want to really blow off some steam, man. Go play paintball.
I've never done paintball specifically because I don't want welts all over my body.
If you have the pain tolerance for it, and honestly, if you're worried about it, I used to wear it. I stopped wearing it because I started realizing like, I can outrun these things a lot easier than I can just take the hit. You can get like battle vests and stuff, and then you really just have to worry about getting a hit in the hip and stuff like that. Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I'm so pain tolerant of it now. I don't have a visor over my mask. It's just straight hair. And then I'm just wearing fin clothing and whatever lets me move as quick as I can.
Man, I tear up whenever I get even a tattoo. So I'm just, my pain tolerance is.
I can't say I haven't taken a hit that made me go home. I definitely took a hit that made me go home. I got caught at 5 feet. And rightfully so, because I wasn't giving up, damn it. But I was the last one. It was a really small course we have out here in the Mo. It's a really small course called Brickyard, and I'm sitting halfway up it, and everyone's gone on my side. Everyone's been wiped out, and I'm just getting surrounded, and I am not giving up. I'm just, no. And this guy comes running around the right of me, and I have it actually in GoPro cam, where I literally just fall backwards and, I'm done.
Hopefully you didn't have a concussion.
I actually have. I'm pretty sure I have a picture running around on social media of it still. There's a fist-sized welt on my forehead from
Oh
where I
my
got
gosh.
cracked by this thing. I went home that day. I was done after that.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
That was like my second or third game in for the day too, and I was just, I'm done. I don't want to play anymore. I'm gonna go home now.
I'm gonna stick to pool. I'm good.
I'll go do this in a video game or something. I'm sorry, guys.
I play laser tag. Much safer.
You know, honestly, I went to go play laser tag just to give it a shot because I like paintballing so much, and I was super disappointed when I went out there. They use CO2, as it turns out, as well in laser tag. I thought it was just an IR laser, but these guys use CO2 to simulate the kick of a gun, and they're getting mad because I was shooting too much. Excuse me? Like,
How can you be shooting too much in a shooting game? That makes no sense.
Yeah, didn't go back there.
Now, when we went to play laser tag, I don't remember exactly where we went to do it, but I don't remember him using CO2. It was just the laser, and there was like a little sensor.
I guess they were just, I don't know. They're
extra. Weird.
They're extra. They wouldn't let us sprint either, which really bugged me because being a paintballer, it's like, all right, get out into the open field, run as fast as you can to the next piece of cover.
Man, I'm here to play some real life Call of Duty. Damn it.
And I go sprinting past someone and he's just, no sprinting, no sprinting. What? You want me to walk and get shot by you?
We just do a fast walk.
That's what I ended up doing. A fast walk, crouch down. I can't do it because I'll go off cam, but yeah, crouch down, 90% bent knees, just a roadie run, but walking, which is so much worse.
I hope my death will be on your conscience for forever. That's great. That's really cool. So you're active somewhat with the paintballing.
Probably won't be so much because wintertime now, but come back in springtime.
Oh, me neither. I don't go out in winter. Like, I live in the South. Okay, I'm in Alabama. I know a lot of people hate on us because we can't handle the cold. My toes and my fingers get like so cold that they're almost numb. Sometimes my toes go actually numb when it's like below 70 degrees.
I understand that too. I actually used to be a lot better about the cold. I'm from New York originally, so I used to just have an affinity for it. I ended up moving out to Las Vegas for just a summer, for just the summer.
And you were like, this is the life, man.
Never could do cold again after that. Never, not been able to do it since. Cannot do cold. I shut down. And for that matter, that's why I don't paintball in the cold. I've played a couple paintball games in the cold, and after the second one, I was like, man, even fully clothed here, everything's numb. I can't feel anything. My visor keeps fogging up. This is bullshit. How did people war like this? Get me the hell out of here. I didn't sign up for this.
I ask the same question whenever I try to go hiking in even the fall. Like, I just flat out cannot do it in the winter. But if it's above like 45 to 50 degrees, my boyfriend's like, hey, you want to go on a hike? Knowing that I am obsessed with going on hikes. That is like my favorite form of exercise.
You can actually, especially some of the hikes around our state parks, I'm sure it's the same way down there. You can see some incredible things just on the random.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I moved up here, because there's no, like, Alabama is half mountain, half flat cotton field. I moved up to the mountains as far up as I can go without it constantly snowing.
I also had a small stay in Alabama for like a month, and the only thing I remember about it, man, you guys get rain like every day.
In the summer, yeah, for the last like 3 or 4 years. For some reason, it didn't used to be like that, but for some reason in June and July, there is a straight 3 weeks of rain, just constant. I think we actually, if you look it up on Google, I think if I remember this correctly, we get more rain than Washington State, which is insane.
All right, that is insane. Washington's like Britain. It's almost constantly overcast there. But
Yeah,
I remember it would be sunny all day when I was staying down there, right around 12 to 2 o'clock, somewhere in there. Oh, it's getting dark. Better get inside. This thing's gonna be quick. 20 seconds later, everything is wet and the storm's gone.
it just rained today. It was like we go through a week drought, or maybe sometimes a month drought in the summer, and then it just rains constantly for the rest of the year.
I appreciate your state's consistency, though. Again, being from Missouri, the saying around here is if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes.
Right.
I believe we are the only state I know of that gets all 4 seasons in 1 week. All 4. Just
Sometimes we do that too. If it's like late fall or early spring, it fluctuates so bad.
It was so just back in October, as a matter of fact. Mind you, it snowed a week ago here, but a week before that we were 70 degrees, nothing. Last week of October is when it finally started being like, all right, 70, 70, 70. Didn't get that nice interchange period of like, here's your 60s and your 50s, guys. Nope, straight down to 30 and 40.
Yep, we're the same way, except we didn't get down to 30s yet. We've been kind of hovering in the 40s and 50s. We got like maybe 2 weeks of fall in the 70s, like lower 70s to high 60s. No, that was it. Just 2 weeks.
Trying to remember how much fall I think we got like a week of fall in October, that middle week there. Maybe 2. I don't know. Again, I try not to go outside too much unless I'm going to go play paintball.
Oh man. Okay, so let's get back on track.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be about, your hobbies or voiceover career or anything like that. Just in general, what are some life goals or dreams that you're working towards?
To get out and get a proper house at the moment is the current goal.
That everybody's goal.
And in this
no one can afford it. It's the one thing we want.
I was say, in this market, it's just like, I might be staying in this town for another couple of years, I guess. But that's the current life goal. Get out. Me and the wife are talking about kids. Another reason we're doing the job change here. Get a full benefits package. We've been discussing kids, so we want them. We're moving towards being able to actually have one. Is what I'm getting around the bush about. In which I guess I just kind of outed me and my wife right there. Oh well, that's fine. People knew already. Some people didn't. Now everyone who's watching does. Trying to have a kid, guys.
Well, it's great to hear that you're, conscious that with the situation that you're currently in, you're not quite there yet. And that's why you're going through the job change and trying to get a better salary and benefits and stuff like that, so that you can properly prepare yourself.
Yep.
Kids are expensive. I have cats. I'm good. I don't want kids, but
I'm aware I'll probably never properly be prepared. But I'd like it, I'd like him to at least a little bit of financial stability. Didn't hurt anyone.
Right. Well, it's a real struggle from what I've heard, that you have unexpected emergency bills, you have doctor's visits, all of these shots that you got to give them, and then all the diapers that you got to buy if you're not using the reusable ones.
I just think back about the stuff I've done.
Yep. I've heard the horror stories. I have a brother. I know how it is.
Man, me and my brother at one point were just throwing crap at each other. Just crap downstairs. I went to go block it. My brother congratulates me. He's like, good job. You blocked it, buddy. I was like 9 or 8 at the time. I slit my wrist open. I was bleeding everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
And then I think about that. It's not a deterrent, but it does make me think that is going to suck.
My brother was constantly in trouble when he was a kid, and I don't remember much from my childhood, but I'm told that I was an instigator. I was a tattletale because he would constantly he did a few traumatizing things to me as a kid, and anytime that I could out him to my mother was great. I loved it because they made a special wooden paddle thick, man. Like it was this thick specifically for him. So anytime he could get in trouble, I was sitting in the doorway just sniggering away. It was the greatest day of my life. I don't regret it, but we're friends now.
I think every family has some type of dynamic like that. I could think of stories my wife has told me. I know of my own older brothers. I was the youngest of 6. I got stories for you, man. I got stories.
If you have siblings, you've been traumatized.
I was say none that I can share on podcast, but I got stories for you, man. Trust me.
Oh man. So buying a house, starting a family. Is there anything, any particular goal that you want to get with voiceover?
Right now, I'm moving towards trying to get, I want to get a character demo going. I want to get an actual demo going. I have, you mentioned the stuff on my website earlier. At the moment, what I have is samples, which is samples of the work I could produce for you or the work I've done.
Right.
And even the actor sample at the bottom, it's a monologue that I had ended up happening upon. I found a database filled with copyright free monologues. I cannot remember it offhand, unfortunately, to share it with you guys. So you can make your own if you're interested, but it's out there. It's on Google.
There's plenty of free scripts on Google that you guys can make samples of.
Yep. Yeah. So I ended up doing that and going that route. And currently right now, what I'm trying to move towards is I'm looking for a studio around here. There's a couple. There's the Clayton studio out here, and there's a couple others that I can't think of off the top of my head, but I have them on a list out there, trying to get up the money to get out there, sit there, talk with them, talk to one of their coaches out there local, and then talk to them about, hey, let's get a demo going. I'd like to put this demo on my website instead of these samples. Let's get a commercial demo going. Let's get a character demo going. And then I can start using that to advertise as opposed to my samples. Nothing wrong with the samples, but it's a demo, guys. Everyone wants a demo.
You got to start somewhere, and demos are expensive, especially given that you got to audition for everything anyway. Like,
yep.
I know demos are extremely important, but you know, when you don't have the money for it, you put whatever you can on your website.
I will
if you even have a website.
At least from my experience, as far as character voice acting, you're not gonna, unless you're like sending this off to an agent or something like that, or you're trying to get a part of an agency, you're not really gonna be, again, in my experience, sending too many demos out for character work.
You're just going to be auditioning.
Exactly. If they have a script for you, they already have a script for you. They don't, give it your voice. Whereas with commercial work, complete and solar opposite. You need those samples. You need that stuff. They have no reference, and they're not going to just provide you a script, especially if you're cold calling people. They're not going to just, okay, yeah, I like your voice right here on the phone. Go ahead and hit me with this. Here's a line. It's not going to happen. Right. They're gonna need those samples, and they're going to need those demos, which is why demo just looks more professional, so it sells easier to corporations and businesses and restaurants and car dealerships when you try and sell your commercial work to them.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why most people recommend getting a commercial demo first. Commercial is one of the easiest ways to get into the business, because you can show a really great range. And I find that a lot of voiceover work is commercials. I know a lot of people say that corporate narration and like e-learnings and explainers and stuff, but for me, at least, I have those demos. I've done several explainers. I've done like maybe 1 or 2 corporate narrations. If I knew then, several months ago, what I know now, I probably would have chosen to do an animation demo because my voice is high pitched. And I was listening to people with, a lot more experience than me. I don't regret making that corporate narration demo, but they have deeper voices. They have more calm, warm, soothing voices. Mine is more suited to toys and animation. So while I am going to be working on getting those demos, a lot of my work comes from commercials and explainers.
And you bring up a good point with the kind of knowing where your voice fits. If I do animation and stuff like that, I'm well aware of the fact that I'm playing an old man. I'm playing someone of mature age, a mentor style guy, something like that. That's where I'm falling in. Maybe an antagonist of some kind. I am very, it's not likely I will be a protagonist at any time soon. It's just not going to happen. I've accepted that. That's okay. I don't mind. I don't. Not to say it won't happen.
Well, that's why you take training and classes. Like, you know what you're good at, and that's going to be your main go-to. But you can always develop, other voices.
And going back to that rejection letter I mentioned earlier, again, they like the voice. If they like the voice, even if you don't get that particular role, there's no telling that you're not going to get a mention back for something else. Okay.
Exactly.
You auditioned for this like 6 months ago. Don't know if you're still interested, but hey, here's this bit part. Would you mind providing a voice for it? Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for reaching back out and getting a hold of me. I appreciate you.
Thanks for reaching out. I gladly accept your offer.
And
on
again,
the inside, you're just like,
if you can't tell from my email strings, like, okay, yeah, I do that way too often, man. I type emails all day in an office. I'm so ready to get out of an office. I've gotten to the point where I don't even,
when you have an office job.
That was the night, and I will say that that kind of gave me a leg up with auditioning at least having this perspective on it. When you bid jobs in the construction world, you don't hear back. If you hear back, you probably got it. If someone's calling you, if you got an email, you probably got it. Other than that, you didn't hear back. Move on. Didn't get it. And then the same respect to how you type up your emails when talking to these other office personnel and talking to these doing finances and yada 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 really gives you a good sense of. It doesn't seem like it might be so important, but the structures of your emails to these people is incredibly important.
I've heard some horror stories from agents and casting directors on the emails that they get, and I'm just like,
sound as professional as you can in your email. Just
how do you not sound professional when you're sending an email?
You have time to type it. You're not talking to someone. Come on. I do that at work when a message sent from my phone. Okay, this is going to be a good one. Click. Oh, he didn't even type out full words.
Oh no.
Oh no. Exactly.
Oh, honey child, you got some work to do.
and that's just me as a guy receiving emails at this business, how I'm responding to another business sending me emails, and I'm going,
so if any of you out there are sending like text lingo in your emails to professional places,
no
please learn some email etiquette. Oh man. So what are some people that inspire you, or do you have any role models?
So as far as role models for voice acting, I'm just gonna rattle off 5 off the top of my head, because these are the people that always come to mind when I think about voice acting or what I'm striving. One of them is a more recent guy, and I actually followed him all the way up through his buildup on Team 4 Stars Final Fantasy VII Machine of Bridge series. Now I don't even watch the show, but I heard his voice on it and was like, wait a minute, and started looking into it just from a YouTube video. Come to find out, he is now Deku on Hunter x Hunter. Or not Hunter x Hunter, sorry.
My Hero
Academia. Yeah, sorry. I don't know what. Scatterbrained again. I apologize.
All good.
But that's Justin Briner. And it was just really, really neat to see him go from, hey, I'm doing this on this internet dub of this game, to I'm Deku. I'm the protag. So that was really inspiring, and I think about that guy a lot. Like, all right, what that show, that Final Fantasy machine, and he's been doing stuff before then too. He's been working before then, and that show ran for like 5 years. So you could probably track his work back to 10 years ago easily. He's been doing this for a decade. He deserves that pro tag spot.
Right?
That man worked for it. And then Kevin Michael Richardson's another guy that comes to mind, being deep voiced as well. I take a lot of inspiration from him, and he gets a lot of the cooler video game characters too. He's Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat, and then he turns around and hey, he's the Joker.
Isn't that awesome? You never know what you're gonna do in voice acting.
His range is fantastic. And then Steve Bloom, of course. And the reason that Steve Bloom is so inspiring to me is, on the one hand, yeah, he's Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. But on the other hand, he's like every other background stormtrooper in this. He's like every other background character in this. He's like every other soldier in this video game. He's like every other person. He is every background character. And you get so exposed to his voice just doing anything, it's impossible not to hear him.
And he coaches.
And he does coach too, as well. I haven't sat down for one of his coaching sessions just yet, but I did note that he coached as well. So I get a lot of inspiration from him, just because that man's grind is unreal. He just works. And to the point where I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I can't tell you if it was from an interview or some text I read, or if it was just a joke, but at one point I believe he said he's done so many roles he couldn't even tell you anymore. Yeah, that might be me.
Ain't that the goal? Do so many roles, I can't remember them all.
But on the other hand, and this will round up my 5 inspiring people for voice acting. Is you have and now her name is escaping me. Jennifer Hale and Laura Bailey are also 2 really big inspirations. Yeah. They both have been voice acting for 2 decades plus. 2 decades plus. I can go back and play Knights of the Old Republic right now and listen to, forgive me if I misquote which one of the 2 it is, because I get it mixed up sometime, but I'm almost 100% it's Jennifer Hale. And then I can shoot 10 years in the future and go play Mass Effect, and there's Jennifer Hale again. And then I can shoot 10 years in the future and go play something else, I'm sure. Nothing that I can think of off the top of my head, because I have not played stuff recently. But I guarantee she's in it. She didn't stop working. And that's why them 2 are so inspiring, is that I've grown up with their voices. I've heard them my entire life. And they're damn good at what they do. We'll go specifically with Jennifer Hale's character, since I mentioned it already in Knights of the Old Republic. The amount of acting you'd have to do in that game is in a game that's based off of Dungeons and Dragons, where you can have any reaction to anything.
Yeah.
And you have 20 different, one conversation has 30 different outcomes. That's a shit ton of acting, man. Excuse my language, I'm sorry.
That's awesome though. And I bet she had a lot of fun with it too.
It seems like it, honestly. That's what I appreciate about her works too, is I can tell when she's enjoying her roles. You can tell somewhat with the other guys too, but you can really hear it in her voice when she's really feeling a role, because she disappears into the character, and just you can almost see the smile, behind the character's voice.
That's a really nice setup of voice actors that are inspirations and role models for you. And I love that you have like even 5 of them, because most people they only have like 2 or 3. Some people have a whole bunch, but if for me, as someone who doesn't really have specific role models, or like I don't really idolize people like that, it's really nice to hear other people supporting someone else and striving to have bits and pieces of that lifestyle incorporated into their own. That's really awesome. So let's wrap up with some advice. What advice, if it's just one piece or maybe 2, do you have for creatives that are trying to find their medium, like whatever it is that they have a passion for, and how can they make a career out of it?
I hate to say, just kind of throw things at the wall, man, but throw things at the wall. You never know what you're going to end up being good at. And once you find something you're passionate about, you don't necessarily have to make it a career. But if you do choose to make it a career, uh, go into it knowing, you're turning your hobby into a career now. So it's your job, because it is a job. Uh, and you're not always going to get to do the fun things, and just bear that in mind. But other than that, yeah, honestly, just throw things at a wall. Do listen to some music, sit down and write. Maybe you find out you're good at writing something. Anything, write anything. you know uh you can look up prompts too, if that helps you for writing prompts. You can look up prompts online, give yourself something to write about. Maybe you'll find that you're good at drawing if you give yourself a shot at drawing. And if that's the case, again, I seriously suggest throwing music on. Music is a massive muse for me. That gets me going a lot of the times. Am I trying to get into the booth? Gonna throw something inspiring on, depending on what I'm trying to do. I've definitely listened to some heavy metal before I've came in here and voiced an evil character. Got to make myself feel like a a baddie.
Get that villain confidence.
and you sometimes just having that music going in the back of your head while you're getting in here, and hey, I got my own backing track now. All right,
This is my theme song.
But that's my biggest piece of advice. And even as a musician, if you're a musician, if that's your medium, listen to other music, take inspiration from what they're doing, and really listen to the energy of it, because that's what you want out of it. You don't, not the lyrics, not the composition, the actual energy these band members are sharing as they play together. That's what I want you to listen out for. I'm sorry, I'm getting very philosophical with
No,
these.
it's like, I love it. Keep on, go.
But listen for that energy that they're sharing with each other, and try and grasp at that. And if you get what I'm saying, you get what I'm saying. Just give it a shot and listen for it. And you'll find that eventually you're going to start hearing their coordination and their speechless communication, and they're communicating with each other, honestly, in a way with their soul, because music is of the soul. So you should be able to latch on that and find some type of inspiration from it. You should be able to honestly take some of that energy for yourself that they're sharing, and use that in whatever work you're trying to do. At least, again, that's what I do.
I love it.
I probably sound like a massive hippie, but I don't care. That's what I do.
I do it all the time. It's okay. If you no matter what your creative medium, even if it's not creative, it's okay to fail.
To that point, yeah. I was actually just having this conversation with my sister. She was talking about how all of us have something creative to do, and she's like, you and your wife, you have the spray painting and the voice acting, and our brother-in-law over here, he works on cars and he makes cars look all pretty, and I don't have anything. And I'm like, sis, you're a social media influencer. You have 300 comments whenever you post anything. You talk about trending topics. In a way, you're a writer. This is a loose art form, but that's an art. Communicating with people, connecting with people, it's an art. I can't do it. I suck at connecting with people. I'm too socially anxious all the time.
Oh my gosh, that's something that we all are working on as voice actors. Networking. But yeah, no matter what it is, you guys just go for it. Don't be afraid to fail at it, because most things you're not going to be good at it right off the bat. And that's going to be if you're going to be the exception. There's several of us that are just naturally good at a lot of things. But for the majority, you got to grow some skill. If drawing is what you think you might like to do, take a couple of classes, maybe watch some YouTube videos. People teach for free on there. And then go for it.
By people's social media posts at all. Those are snapshots of the good times. People don't share their bad times.
Exactly.
Snapshots of the good times.
Don't be comparing yourselves to other people. Because most of the time you'll just see what they want you to see.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, nobody wants to be viewed as flawless, or flawed.
Flawed. Yeah.
Flawed. Need food. All right, so Next week, we have Jalen Terry, who is actually a video game, an indie game developer who I will be providing voiceover services for a couple of characters in his upcoming video game next year. So stay tuned for that. And Kurt, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experience and
It's been an
being
absolute pleasure.
vulnerable.
Thank you for having me aboard.
All right, guys, go check out his website, voice samples, go do something you love. And I'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.